So what's up with this electroharmonic soul food, Mr. Bivens?
It is a copy, I guess, of the famous Klon. So it's like $1,500 overdrive pedal. And I bought this one used for $50. It sounds about 90% as good, but that extra 10% is not quite worth $1,450 to me, so.
The more you know, kids, the more you know.
Working with Michael Bivens has been pretty turnkey type deal. I mean, he knows his shit. It's compared to working with someone that doesn't know what they're doing. I mean, Bivens, he'll give you ideas. He'll even, he helps write and compose some things in the song, add some extra little things you wouldn't think of. He knows his, I don't know if it's Pro Tools or whatever he uses, but he knows how to use it towards the most efficient. We're in and we're out, even though drum day took 13 hours. But either way, I feel like it would have taken a lot longer with anyone else. Overall, a great producer. I'd work with him 100 times over again.
Yeah, so working with Michael Bivens has been something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. Coming from the video production world, I've had some friends in some bands and stuff like that have done a lot of production with him, and like just hearing the end product and like hearing how he's just changed over time. I've known him for at least 10 years, and seeing what he's done, I've always respected the man very, very highly. Like, he knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing. He's a producer and an engineer. He does a lot of great, just ideas that he brings to the table on songwriting and how things should sound and that kind of stuff. And being in the studio with him when I was shooting River City Sound videos and stuff like that, which is a friend's band, and just seeing his workflow and stuff, I was just like, man, this is the guy. And then now that home recording equipment is so much more readily available, and you think oh, we can just record it ourselves. It's just going to be oh, we just got to record the music. It's it's so much more than that, and you don't really realize it until you're in an environment with somebody who knows how to use the gear, has the amount of gear that he does, and then takes the time to really be so tactile on each individual part. And even the keyboard player on a song called Light Where You Live even said, he was just I love the way that you just work. You're just bam, 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 bam. You don't milk the clock, If for some reason we ever got signed, we'd be coming back to you and being all right, cool, now here's a $50,000 paycheck. You're still producing us.
So working with Bivens has been an absolute pleasure. Vocal wise, he kind of gave me free reign in some ways. We found out very quickly, once I was able to get my head on my shoulders correctly, that I'm more of a vibe singer. I'm more of someone who needs to definitely take the song at its whole and do the whole song as though I'm performing it. May not work for every single singer. Usually most singers track through the songs. So they'll do the chorus, and then they'll do the verses, and then so on and so forth, the bridges and what have you. With me, it was very much just, having me go through and do the entire song and then work on certain parts after that.
Process with Bivens, I can't say enough good things about the guy. He knows what he's doing. He's very helpful. He'll tell you, what he hears, what he thinks you should do. Sometimes you don't do it. Sometimes you do. It just depends on how it sounds. But yeah, like I said, he knows his stuff, and I definitely recommend other bands and artists to do work with him.
See, he's got this sarcastic, it's like a sarcastic constructive criticism. So he'll give you shit really bad, but he means it. It's do this fucking shit, don't be a fucking bitch, but he's gonna make fun of it, and we're all on the same page.
He's got a good ear when it comes to rock music, and all the songs I've heard him produce, or bands I've heard him produce. You can tell he's got a lot to do with it after you've been in the studio with him, because you can just tell that he's very finicky, very I could almost say anal about how things need to sound, but in the end it's definitely worth it. He's great at what he does. I don't know. I'll just leave it that vague. He's just fantastic at what he does.
He's a producer. He's a tech nerd. He's smart. He knows marketing. He knows a lot of different things. He's not just stuck in one lane of just being this. He's a musician too, because he can play drums, he can play guitar, he can kind of carry a tune. He can play some piano and stuff like that, and kind of kick it around. And it's very interesting to get his perspective on things as an outside ear, because he's done so many different things with so many different bands, to be able to be oh, hey, we're just some nobodies, coming in. We are not professional musicians on any degree. We're just your average bass player Joe that comes in, and you're like, hey, we want to make some music, and he's just like, cool. I even made this joke that he's just like, Michael Bivens making OK bands sound better since 2006 or whatever it was, and just like working with him has just been so monumental. And I knew there was no question, like even in like 2015, I was like, if we ever time that we need to go record, like I've got the guy, like nobody compares to this. There's a local studio in the Riverbend area, and I like, not like, they're great guys, they do good work and everything, but like the actual production and the quality that comes out of it all is just not what Bivens produces. Like his care for every little single thing is so high that you just leave there and you're like, holy shit. Like I learn stuff from him all the time. Like I'm just sitting there and like, he's like, oh no, play this better. So he brings out the best musician that you can be by recording with him. So like he's not just producing, he's not just engineering, he's like, be better. I know there's something better in there. Let's coach you through this and bring it out. All right, cool. Now you got it. Because he's going to have his name on this, so he wants to make sure it sounds as good as possible. Like bring out the best of your abilities and get you to limitations, and be like, cool. Now let's push that like an extra 2 or 3%.
Watching him work with Nate and seeing him work with the rest of the band as well on certain parts that I was there for. Like I said before, I'm definitely excited to see what the outcome is, and see where the totality of all that work, including the process beforehand when it came to bouncing ideas off of us, having us kind of cut parts out just because it was too long and making the song sound too draggy or what have you, which also helped us live as well. See where all that work and that pushback that we also had as well with certain parts leaving or finding other parts to fit, really ends up coming through.
Yeah, he's helping a ton with the production, helping us make these songs what they should be, rather than let's make them, let's go over the top and make them crazy. Let's just settle down. We don't need to get crazy with it. Make it simple. Make it good. Make sure people, want to listen to it. And, just working with Bivens has been awesome.
Right. Well, when we write the songs, they sound good to us because we're in the moment. And we're like, oh, that sounds good. We're going to keep it. But then, when you get a third party to sit down and listen to it, they're like, they give you ideas, and you're like, oh, well, I didn't think about that. And you try it out, and it's like, why didn't I think of that before?
So the constructive criticism that Michael Bivens gives at first was kind of hard to, when we're just starting out with them and actually recording in the drum studio or whatever. It's hard to hear, but it's one of those things that you just kind of, we get along with them, just on a personal level enough that, you have to, when you're working with a producer or something, and you got to consider them the extra member of your band. And with us working months and months with them, and then he'd hear, the songs we're currently writing and what songs just don't work at all. And, hey, we need to write something that sounds a little bit better. It sounds more like the rest of these songs we're recording. You just got to have that relationship to where you kind of just got to have trust in him, starting out from the get-go. And then even whenever he says, when we're recording guitars, 4 or 5 recordings in, you got to be able to, if he mentions something, you can't be afraid to fucking try. At least try it out, because he's the type of guy that, hey, we'll take 3 different tracks of this and we'll decide which one's best for the song.
There's a huge realization that comes out of Michael too, is like that he is a coaching element basically. He's in your corner. He's just like, he's got out of a 10-round fight, and you're like, oh, I'm bleeding and everything, and he's like, just okay, hold on, but you got better than this. Let's bring it out of you. Like, I initially contacted him, being like, oh, we have a song to record, and he was just like, well, let's talk about it real quick. And then he broke that down to being like, why don't we do 4 songs over the course of a half a year, and we'll just get the best 4 songs we possibly can. So he really realized our vision, or made us even realize our own vision that we didn't even know was there. Oh, we wrote this, and less than a year of having our vocalist Jamie, like to have something like this sounds this good in 4 months, I couldn't even imagine what's going to sound like in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years if these group of guys kind of stay together and really produce something awesome with him as our 6th band member.
I honestly cannot remember or think of any times that I didn't like his ideas, because they were all good ideas.
If we're the actors and the audio and like audio talent, if you want to call it that. He's the director of the show, more or less. He kind of like sees it. It's like, hey, we brought the script, we have the actors in place, we have the set designers and stuff, and he's just like, all right, cool, I'm going to come in and direct. He's Spielberg for music because of his experience, not only as an audio engineer and understanding his gear, which by itself is worth tens of thousands of dollars, his production knowledge and his understanding of music and stuff. Like, I mean, we literally sat down for 2.5 hours and wrote a 40-second guitar solo. Like, because I brought something in and he was just like, yeah, this is shit, let's put this together like phrase by phrase and like really get you out of your comfort zone. And then literally had to have homework given to me to learn a solo that I'm more than capable of playing, but never would have myself brought to the table to like put on the album. Do like a Zeppelin, like
I was thinking we maybe go for
a fast fret thing real quick, after like the slower stuff, and then unless you wanna.
I was picturing like Brock's keyboard thing. Start with that.
Hmm.
I don't know.
I'm blown away. Having all those harmonies finally come together whenever I've finished a run or something like that, or all the little itty bitty parts he told me to add in, that just make that just that little extra, and something that he didn't put on synth, something to add in a backtracking in, but you can hear it in the mix just a little bit. It was really fun searching and adventuring through while I was listening to the edits that we have so far.